Morning all. How are we doing? Morning Diamond, morning Marcus, morning Ladder. Nearly got a TP on my pound US dollar. Not quite. Came out of the propulsion gap. Worryingly, came out of the propulsion gap. Hopefully, the sellers are running out down there, but we'll see this morning. Excuse me. Morning, Evil. So, as usual, on a Thursday, I'm completely unorganized. I have a class Thursday mornings. I go to a spin class at 6:45, so I have to rush back, scoff breakfast, sit down, don't get a chance to look at anything and prepare. So, straight in blind this morning, as usual. Morning, Brian. So, we'll have a look through news, what we got coming up today, and what happened yesterday, and obviously have a look at the DAX this morning for the opening range, see what happens there. So just starting off with ADRs, there's a few ADRs this morning to look at. Actually, what I'll do is do the news first before the market opens. So yesterday we had obviously all the yen movement. Some lovely ADR reversals on the yens yesterday. They were absolute textbook yesterday. I took the Aussie yen short, but any yen basically yesterday, you would have milked it. So look at what I missed. Look at what I missed. Didn't stop all day. And look at the NASDAQ as well. I missed the opening range of break on the NASDAQ. I got a lovely short on that yesterday. Look. So I got a lovely short on the NASDAQ. And it just carried on going. So I missed half the NASDAQ move, missed half the yen move. But you're never going to get the whole move. If you could get the whole move, that means you know where it's going to stop. If you know where it's going to stop, you're psychic. Morning, Stevie. So yes, I got some really nice ADRs yesterday. But that was all back off the back of the yen. We had the CPI for the pound yesterday, came out as expected. No real movement, positive or negative, on the pound. So across the board, the pound basically, let's pick up now, at least we can see what happened yesterday. So we had a push on the pound odd, push on the CAD, not on the pad, on the Swissy, push on the New Zealand, push and a pull on the US. So mixed, but overall positive. So it's not amazing news. I don't think this is a reason to be buying the pound. It's just the fact that inflation came down by 0.2% year on year. So in a whole 12 months, they managed to reduce inflation by 0.2 with a target of 5. Good one. So yeah, that's not positive. That's just a hit. But the market had a bit of a rally on it, so it's not. I think it's a temporary. Then we had the PPI figures. A big miss on retail, a little bit of a miss on the PPI for the US. So again, a little bit more negative news on the US dollar. So, of course, the US dollar rallied. Big move up. Swissy, it didn't, because the Swiss franc was on fire yesterday. Obviously, the yen was on fire as well. So, but if you look at the euro, US dollar, we had a push and a pull back down. Pound US dollar, that pushed and pulled back down again. So, not particularly good or bad either way on the US dollar either. Nice big push this morning. Is that US? It's weak Aussie, isn't it? Yeah, weak Aussie dollar yesterday and today. So yeah, so that was yesterday's news. The market isn't reacting massively to anything at the moment, news-wise. Anything that's, we're not getting the same reactions as we used to with news. It's just all about interest rates at the moment and all about inflation. Things like the PPI, the CPI, the PPI and other things are having an impact, but inflation and unemployment and the interest rates is really all the market is interested in moving on at the minute. So you'll get intraday and intra-week movement on it, but nothing dramatic. So today we've had the Aussie unemployment, massive miss. Aussie's come down this morning. I didn't have any Aussie exposure on, unfortunately. I was trying to get in short on Aussie New Zealand and I missed it on Monday. I wish I hadn't. But anyway, I missed the Aussie New Zealand Monday move. But anyway, so yeah, we had that, and obviously Aussie's pulled down this morning. It's having a little bit of a rest now. But yeah, still all down, Aussies. And we got the WEF meetings today and obviously continue into tomorrow. So the main news today is 10:30, Lagarde. So I'll go over the financial juice news in a minute. And I just quickly skimmed it before I came on, and I noticed there's some ECB stuff on there, which backs up what I said yesterday about the rate changes. So US dollar unemployment this afternoon. We got Brainard speaking later as well, and obviously Philly Fed manufacturing. So there is a little bit of potential movement on the US dollar this afternoon, but the main thing is Lagarde. So we had that news coming out from some bod in the euro saying that they were only going to increase their rates by 0.25% instead of 0.5%. So of course the market just went what and tanked. So I was on Euro Swiss at the time when the tank happened there. And then obviously yesterday we had a further tank. So basically this move has been caused by a rumor. And I said, didn't I? Who said it? We need Lagarde to say this. If this is the case, fine. That's no problem. But Lagarde has been saying all along, it's 0.5%. We will be doing 0.5% for the minimum the next quarter because we're behind. If you look at where they are with the fundamentals and the interest rates, they are way behind on interest rates, behind the rest of the world, the developed world, if you like. Not the developed world, they're all developed, but you know the leading currencies. So they're way behind. So I didn't believe it when I heard it. This morning, Knott has just come out and said the ECB are planning to hike by 50 basis points multiple times. The ECB won't stop after a single 50 basis point hike. So this is all backing up what Lagarde has been preaching. So this idiot that came out and tanked the market on Monday, or Tuesday, whenever it was. Tuesday, wasn't it? Tuesday. Utter rubbish. So it's all manipulation, basically. Obviously, New Zealand, the PM stepped down overnight as well, so I'm not quite sure what impact that's going to have. But over the night, that's about it. Once rates are no longer raised, risk will remain two-sided. So I'm glad that's come out this morning from Knott. It backs up basically what Lagarde has said, and it completely dismisses what that bloke said. So I'm expecting the euro to rally today. I'm on Euro Swiss and Euro Pound. Depending on what happens with the pound, we've got a bit of a strong pound at the minute. So depending on what happens with the pound, this one may or may not push. But Euro Swiss, hopefully we'll get some rally on that today. Swissies had a couple of good days, so I'm hoping that's going to have a little bit of a breather and let the euro pump. So what's your euro pairs? Euro US dollar shorts. Longs. Again, this morning, you've just had the reverse alert this morning on M5, M15. You've just had the reverse alert. There's not one on Audi because we're in an accumulation at the minute. So, but yeah, like this back up to the highs, euro US dollar. So I'd be looking to buy the euro, but with a little bit of a pinch of salt on that, because we've got Lagarde talking at 10:30 this morning. So I'm hoping what Knott has done this morning is tee up Lagarde to be hawkish, basically be bullish this morning. So fingers crossed she comes out this morning and is like, we're still worried about everything and we are going to be increasing rates, which means we should get a good rally on the euro. So long euros, if you want to find a good euro for a long, why is that not filtering out the -2s? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Let's just filter it sort that way. So euros, euro odd long, euro CAD long. Those are the two decent ones at the moment. So the entire market is short euro odd and they are short euro CAD. Therefore, we want to be going long. So euro odd and euro CAD, good opportunities for longs this morning. Market's just opened. Just put in the opening range. So euro odd, you've missed it. Missed it by a absolute mile. Euro CAD. Yeah, I mean, EuroCAD, you could probably get on a break of the Asian high. So with EuroCAD, what I would do with this one this morning is wait till we get down to there and long it, or just take the breakout long. Reverse. You missed it yesterday, so. But anyway, so those are your options basically for the euros at the moment. If you're not already in anything else, I'm in Euro Swiss and I'm in Euro Pound anyway, so I'm just riding these up, hopefully. So that's news. DAX, big old opening range this morning on the DAX. So I didn't have much luck yesterday. This week's just it's the same as this month. This month has just been like pulling teeth. It really has. Everything I've got onto this month has just been mistimed or just hasn't moved. I've just been stuck. Like pound New Zealand. Look, that pound New Zealand. When did I open pound New Zealand? 18th. Eh? Oh no, that's another one. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, because I was in and out. I've been in and out of pound New Zealand, but it still hasn't moved, is it? So pound New Zealand, I've been in and out, in and out, in and out. Just this is my month so far. That's this chart sums up my month so far. I just haven't managed to get anything that's actually moved, and this has finally decided to do a breakout on the high. The one time I short it, you couldn't make it up this month. I kind of want January to be over and reset, and let's go for February. So I'm not doing too bad on my other accounts, but I'm not doing too good either. I'm probably going to have I'll be lucky to squeeze a 5% month this month. I think it's not good. Prop, I'm having a nightmare. But anyway, EuroCAD at a big daily level. Yeah. So got that high. There's a few areas on EuroCAD you can look at. That one there specifically, which we're just coming up to now, and that high. But I mean, technical levels mean nothing when sentiment and fundamentals rule. Technical levels only mean something if the fundamentals and the technicals line up at those levels, and they don't today. So your EuroCAD is a slight long range bound. You've got COT massively on side to go long. You've got sentiment massively offside, giving a huge intraday sentiment long. So it may well bounce at the high, but everybody's shorting it at the moment. The world and his wife at the moment on EuroCAD is short. Where's EuroCAD? I've got to do something about this sorting. 81% of retail is short on this. So all the liquidities at the highs, they'll be pushing it today. Well, they are. They've already pushed it. We've missed it. Started pushing it yesterday. So yeah, so there we go. But yeah, I mean, it could well bounce at those levels. Morning, Sega. Still some trading days left this month, so enough possibilities for a good month. Yeah. I'm just waiting. Morning, Freeman. I'm just waiting at the moment. It's just one of those. You have them these months. I have months when I bank 25%. I have months when I lose 10%. Just have months where you amble along going, why is nothing working? But that's life. It's a long term. Yeah, your goal is to make money on an annual basis, not on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. It's nice if you can do it on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, but not realistic. As my P&L so far shows, normally in my other P&L, do you know what? This the one that I'm trading on stream at the moment, the account I'm trading on stream at the moment is the worst one of the lot. But that's because I'm having to be super conservative because I've got a limit. I've got to stay within 5%. So I've got a limit and I'm being super conservative. I took 2 ADR reversal yen trades yesterday, made an absolute fortune on them. Not a fortune, but they were brilliant trades. In here, I didn't because I'm just too worried about drawdown. But anyway, that's prop. Right, so what we will do is I'm just waiting for the DAX opening range to go in. So the 5-minute opening range is in. I'm trading the 15 at the moment. So there's your 5. Very choppy pre-market action, that. Very big pre-market moves. I think market's getting a little bit ready for Lagarde, and obviously we had this come out at 7:30 that came out, which is 9:30 on chart, which is here. So it came out just before, didn't it? So obviously, I reckon that's probably to do with what was said this morning. But I'd be looking for a DAX really short bias today. If we're going to get strength in the euro, we should see weakness in the DAX. So see what happens with the 15-minute range. They might come up and might get some limit orders at the pre-market highs. But that's where we want to really break today. Obviously, we're going to need that push. We're not going to find out. Lagarde's not speaking until 10:30, so not a lot we can really do about it until then. But we'll see. So Euro CAD is pushing at the moment. Euro Swiss is just breaking out the Asian range. Euro Pound is thinking about it. Right, so ADRs today. There's a few to look at. Aussie dollar CAD, that's right now just about to reverse off of ADR Aussie CAD. So from a bias perspective on Aussie CAD, it's range bound but slight short bias. So you're taking it sort of counter trend on that one. There's no bias either way. Intraday sentiment is just flat as a pancake. Yeah, so there's nothing to look at all there. I suppose I could use this. Don't really need the other page, do I? But anyway, it's just I've got all the intraday sentiment. This page, the intraday sentiment, breaking down cotton retail, is actually, when I think about it, redundant because it's all here, and I can filter it as well. So might as well just stay on this page. Just this has got a nice chart on it. So yeah, Aussie CAD ADR hit to the downside at the moment, but obviously, as you can see, we are in an uptrend, and the market is range bound but slightly bearish. So fundamentals are slightly bearish, but there's no sentiment either way. So this could basically just pop from there. But you know, the movement on this is very, very, very nice textbook. So at the moment, it's a pretty good ADR long. It has just broken out of those highs. So I did. Who was on this yesterday? Neil. Did you get your aggressive positions on this yesterday? If you did, you did very well yesterday. So we are starting that pullback. So some people have been on this short for a while. So yeah, that's starting to come back down again. Aussie dollar yen, you've got an opportunity there again with an ADR hit to the downside. We're down at ADR. We've just had a reversal alert this morning. Nice W pattern reversal there. So that one's on its way. Big propulsion gap target there to aim for. So pretty good if you got on this one. You've literally just had it 10 minutes ago. The reversal alert's got in. If you want to use the stop on this one, you're looking at something in the region at the moment of 35. Target is going to be somewhere in the region of 65. Euro odd, very extended on the Australian move. That's up at ADR today. I'll be a bit careful trying to mean revert this one today. It is an ADR hit, and it's a very nice propulsion gap as well. So there's a good target there. I would class both of those together as one big gap. So there's a nice risk reward on that when that does reverse, 125 ADR. However, we've got Lagarde speaking at 10:30. Depending on what she says, we're going to get some movement potentially on the euro. Could go either way. I'm hoping it goes up. So if you're going to get an ADR short on that today, be careful. And I hope it doesn't work for you because I want the euro to pump. Not being nasty, but I'm on the other way. You're in New Zealand. Again, same thing, pushing very hard euro at the moment. So be careful with this one. You know, we've seen this week, we've seen some, admittedly, mostly on the yen and the Swiss, but we've seen 200, 225 ADRs this week, haven't we? So first week, proper week back trading really this week after the break, where we've got all the Christmas rubbish out of the way. In fact, last week really was. But the ADR figures, you have to be, I didn't mention this actually before, I should have done, but the ADR figures, you have to be a little bit careful of them when you come back from a break like Christmas, and in the summer months as well, when we come back from summer month trading, because the ADRs are all contracted, because we've had low volatility obviously for the entire Christmas period. So we have 2 weeks really where there's very little trading. Obviously the trading ranges contract, so the ADR figures drop. So you get these big moves where it looks like it's doing a 200% ADR day. What it's actually doing is going back to what it used to be, ADR. So, ADRs on pound New Zealand and things like that have been sitting up at 300, 250. They're sitting at 140 at the moment because we're coming out of a contraction period over Christmas. So although this might look like it's lit up like a Christmas tree at 225 ADR, all it's doing is what it used to do before Christmas. So you've got to be a bit careful when you get these massive moves. So this is a big push, obviously. It's still an aggressive move in one direction. We've got RSI extensions on there. We've got an RSI extension on the hourly. We're up in a propulsion gap. This is exactly where I said we were going to land with this one. Why didn't I take this one? This is what I mean. All the stuff I've said, I put this in, didn't look. I said Euro New Zealand, awesome, lovely bounce, double bottom bounce, looking like we're going to come up and retest the propulsion gap, probably coming up to that area. Go look at yesterday in the live room. I got on that and that. This is the sums up my entire month so far. I'm just getting on the stuff with the same idea, and I'm just, for some reason, I'm managing to pick the stuff that just isn't getting there. Or we're having something else happen that is just interfering. So anyway, that one worked really well, Euro New Zealand. So if you want a reversal on that, obviously what we're doing at the moment is tapping into this, but bear in mind this is complete rubbish. So what this propulsion gap is an idiot leaking a falsehood. So the sellers that stepped in here to go short have found out today that, actually, no, it's not going to be 0.25, it's going to be 0.5, and they're all exiting their positions. So what you're seeing is all these shorts exiting, which is why we're going along. So we're going to come back and reset where we were on Tuesday before the idiot opened his mouth. Her, him, whoever it was. So today we'll go where we want. Look at where we were going before the news came out, which is why I'm long everything. Yeah. So be careful, mean reverting that one this morning. Pound odd off to the races this morning. Coming off of ADR, lovely propulsion move again. So all these Australian dollars, we had to move at the same time. I'm assuming this is 230. So that's obviously the unemployment figures, isn't it? Yeah. So that's the unemployment figures basically coming out as a miss. So the market obviously shorted the Australian dollar there. So again, likely retest of that level. But unemployment is an important factor. Yeah. So unemployment plays a big part in our scorecarding system. Yeah, it's a leading indicator that affects inflation and interest rates. So you need to be aware of that one. Right, so there's your ADRs. Weeklies, we've got loads as well. So all of these weeklies, worth flicking through the weeklies. Aussie dollar Swiss. Look at the hourly charts when you're looking at weeklies, and see, right, where are we? Have we got an opportunity? So we've done our entire week's move. We're on Thursday. Market's been absolutely exhausted. We're down at the 20 on the hourly. It's duress, isn't it? Where are we going to head to? There's a propulsion target there. There is your most recent resistance. So pretty much 125 ADR move potential back to the upside. Aussie dollar yen, again, absolutely exhausted. It's coming off of ADR at the moment. That's really exhausted, isn't it? That's a hell of a move. Look at that. I mean, going from 90 ADR RSI extension to the upside to a 20 RSI extension to the downside in 24 hours is a hell of a move. This is why I'm trying to steer clear of the yen at the moment from a position trading perspective. It's completely schizophrenic at the minute, the yen. Got to be very careful with it. We just got the 15-minute opening range in. Very big opening range this morning, 50 points. So I will be looking for a break of that short or long. So basically what all we've done really is, as I said, taken out the pre-market high at the moment. So we'll see if that is going to be the move, which is basically just dump it from there. So we've got propulsion gap gone in on the 5-minute open, where we've potentially got some buyers sitting, as you can see. We just zoom in so we can see. So we opened, initial cash balance, market pushed down, buyers stepped in, added more positions, buyers pushed higher, limit orders triggered, at pre-market highs, sellers back in. So either this move here is the start of the speculative move and we're going to hit there, buyers are going to add to positions and drive higher, or the limit orders triggered there are where the speculators are stepping in and we're going to tank. That's your decision to make, which is why the ORB is so good. I don't care which happens. I just get on board with whoever's going to take control in the morning. That's the whole purpose of the strategy, is to be unbiased and get on board with the momentum. So we'll watch that. I'm keeping an eye on that on my other monitor. Let me just draw in the high and the low on that, just so that I have it. Well, who is there? Right. So there's your ADRs, and there's lots of opportunities, obviously, on these weeklies as well. So have a look at the buyer scorecard for anything that is a good, strong buy or sell. Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar is a strong sell. Pound New Zealand's just hit ADR. Oh my god. It's half an ADR. Just going to see if I'm going to get a second on this. I'm not going to get a second on it here. I'm going to stick a pending on this. The EA isn't going to trigger on that because it's too close. I'm trading half an ADR apart. Half an ADR is 70, and this is only going to be roughly 60. But if it does reverse, I do want to actually get in a second on this this pound New Zealand. So I'm going to add one manually up there, just depending there. If it carries on pushing and we get to 125 and then we get a reversal out up there, I'll be fine. It'll get in automatically. But I just want to add one manually just in case, because it is very extended. And obviously I need to keep on top of these, basically. I need to get in these moves a little bit quicker than the EA is going to do on some of these. So, sorry, so where was I? Yeah, I was looking at these ADRs. So Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar is a nice sell. Missed it. So there you go. So that was a sell bias. That was just gone south. Aussie dollar, US dollar. That's not extended. Swiss yen buy. So the Swiss yen you buy, you've got to be a little careful with. It has worked very nicely all week. But again, this yen, you've just got to be so careful with the yen at the moment. It's going to move when the Bank of Japan does bond sales and interventions. So apart from that, it's really a case of it will just amble along until they intervene, and it all depends on them. So I'm steering clear of it at the moment. The bias you've got to take with a pinch of salt as well, because interest rates and interest rate change will play a big part in the bias score. And obviously the Bank of Japan don't change their interest rates, it's always negative 0.1. So, mind you, we said that about the Swiss franc, didn't we? And then look what happened. The Swiss franc decided to change their rates, and the whole market collapsed against the Swiss franc. So, so other weeklies we've got are the excluding the yens, we've got the euro odd, euro Swiss, and euro pound. None of those really on a bias. Pound odd, New Zealand CAD. So New Zealand CAD is a strong buy. And obviously it's just flown up. So yeah, nothing really to get in on the weeklies. Cam, on the AWR, how many weeks do you go back for average? 12. So I use 12 weeks, which is a quarter. And a month, and AMR I'm using 12 as well, which is a year, obviously. So I'm looking back. I'm looking back on the ADR. I'm looking back 2 weeks, 2 trading weeks, which is 5 days in a week, excluding the Sundays. But it's actually 7 days in a week, 6 days. So it's actually 12, but I class it as 10. So I use ADR 10 for the daily, and for the weekly I use a quarter. And this all matches up with my moving averages, yeah. So the quarterly moving average, which is the 72. This one. So that's your average weekly range. Monthlies, obviously, we've got a few as well. You've got Aussie CAD, the Swiss yen, and the US dollar yen. So it's yen based, but that Aussie CAD as well, monthly range hit. It's come off hard off the monthly. So we'll see if we can get some more downside on that, off those unemployment figures. But the trouble is we need the CAD. The CAD is just not interested at the moment, is it? It's really just not interested. RSIs lit up like a Christmas tree. You might have missed a lot of these this morning as well. Johannes, won't this New Zealand PM resignation affect the New Zealand dollar? Might do. I don't know. Let's have a look. Not really. Coming down a bit this morning, but not really. I mean, if you think about it, what on earth has the Prime Minister of the country got to do with fundamental policy from the Bank of New Zealand? Nothing. It doesn't matter who's in charge. You know, when we have prime ministerial changes in the UK, and we've had plenty of them in the last month or the last year, it doesn't affect the pound. Their decisions will affect the pound, but the decisions are made by the central bank and also government on the central bank's kind of say so. I mean, central banks run the currencies basically. So if your prime minister resigns, it doesn't really affect the currency because this hasn't changed. Yeah, none of this changes. Yeah, Prime Minister of New Zealand resigns. Interest rates don't change. Inflation doesn't change. GDP has got no effect whatsoever. Unemployment doesn't matter. Yeah, this is what drives the Forex market and makes these guys pick their direction. Yeah. Nothing to do with prime ministers or leaders. However, when you get a leader that has radical ideas potentially coming in, then that can have an impact. Look at Liz Truss. Yeah, look at the pound and the US dollar, and look at what happened when Liz Truss took over. Yeah, so that does, but she's only resigned. We've got no idea who's taking over, what's their policies are, or anything yet. So that can have an impact. But this is Liz Truss doing something completely ridiculous and stupid that everybody in the entire planet was like, what? Of course it collapsed. And then the Bank of England had to bail us out. But look who got out of it, the Bank of England. Yeah, the Bank of England is in control. Yeah, the central banks, not the people in charge of government. It's the same as in the US. You know, you might have the president of the US, but he doesn't pull the strings. The people behind him pull the strings. The president is a puppet run by the people behind the scenes. Yeah, if the president's going off in a direction they don't want him to, the cloak and daggers will push him back in the way that they need it, don't they? It's not, you know, all countries, most countries are run by a democracy behind the scenes, aren't they? So the person out in the front is the spokesperson. Doesn't really affect it. But it can do if you're going to get someone particularly crazy, not crazy, but, you know, with different ideas coming on board. So won't worry about it too much. Does your daily ADR start time match with your broker? The ADR is broker. So ADR, your ADR stands for average daily range. Average daily range is a daily candle. all ADR does is it measures the average daily range of the candles. So if your broker has a different start and end time, you're going to have different daily candles, which is why most brokers now use UTC +2, but you get the odd broker that's just not running on the same time zone as everyone else, and you're going to get different figures. But the averages are going to be pretty much the same. The only time you'll get a different average, really, is if you have a lot of candles which close at the very high or the very low, which you haven't really got any here. That one was pretty close. That one opened at the open. But, you know, as long as you've got wicks, yeah, if your broker's 1 or 2 hours out, it really doesn't make any difference. But don't worry about it. You know, it's not an exact science, ADR. ADR is a level where, you know, price gets to, and we know that it's on average, it means that we're not likely to go an awful lot further, because unless there's a fundamental shift, you know, and this yen yesterday was a prime example of a fundamental shift. Yeah, or so they thought. Most of the time, this is why ADR works. Yeah, when you all ADR is doing is it's saying, hey, look at this pair. That's it. The decision you make on what's happening with ADR is down to you, but all the ADR dashboard does and alerts you to, and the ADR indicator is, hey, look at me. That's all it's saying. It's a market condition indicator. So this is like, hey, look at me. I've moved way bigger than normal. Do you want to do something with me? That's literally all ADR's there for, and weekly and monthly. Obviously, it's just saying, look, Aussie CAD's moved miles today. Right, why is Aussie CAD moved miles today? Oh, they've had negative unemployment figures. Do I think that's really going to move the Aussie badly? Well, no. Okay, then mean revert it. Do I think that's something that should drop the Aussie? Yes. Okay, then wait for a pullback into a propulsion area and take a reversal alert long. All this is doing is saying there's a possible opportunity here because we have volatility. As traders, the only thing we can make money with is movement. This is movement. So this is just telling you movement. You're using IG 5-hour difference, 3:30 a.m. on your candle. So your candles right now are saying 3:30 a.m. Change broker. So what you've got is what's called New York closed candles. It's probably 3:30 in New York, isn't it? Yeah. So you've got what's called a New York closed candle, which is fine. But look at another broker. So get a downloaded demo with Axie, or I don't know, any other broker that uses UTC +2. So at the moment it's 10:30 candle time now, and it's 8:30 in the UK. UK is UTC +2, 10:30. So most brokers tend to use UTC +2 because the entire world revolves around London. Yeah, it's GMT. We are time, aren't we? London is time. All starts here. So that's why the brokers use it. But it doesn't matter too much. Yeah, so as Diarma's just pointed out, opening time doesn't matter too much with the ADR range because unless you are getting a candle, the thing you need to understand with it is, right, the vast majority of the movement happens here and here. The end bit and the start bit isn't that relevant. And it doesn't really matter where your day starts. The movement from that point to that point will be the same, pretty much. And that is your range for the day. It's measuring the high to the low of the days going back. And that's all it's doing. All it is, ADR, it's ADR is ATR of the daily. So if you went over to there and picked the ATR indicator, what is it? It's an oscillator. So ATR 10 on the daily is currently 116. There you go. So it's 116, right? Is the ATR 10. ADR is 114 on my indicator. So that's literally all the indicator is doing is it's measuring ATR 10 on the daily and plotting that on your whatever time frame. But it's taking the low of the day and calculating that from there, and it's calculating that from the high. So these lines move because what we want to do is measure when we get to the movement. So if it pushes down like this and makes new lows, to actually hit ADR, that line's got to come down, hasn't it? Because it's going to be a measurement from the low and the high. This is what confuses a lot of people. I get so many questions. Why doesn't it draw from the open? Well, because if it drew the lines from the open and they never moved, if it did that and then pushed down to there, it's actually done its average daily range. If it didn't move, you'd actually get an alert at 150 ADR when it's actually done. It just doesn't work. So, but the video explains it all. Anyway, go and look on the website. It explains it all in detail. There's a difference between ADR calculated over the last 10 days and the day's ADR range, high to low, which is from the day's high. Yeah, so as the Armors just said. DAX isn't doing anything today. I think we're waiting for Lagarde. So we got a large cash balance gone in this morning on the 15, and we're not doing anything. So buyers are stepping in at the moment, trying to push back up again, but sellers, it's just a right battle going on today. There's no directional movement, speculative movement at all. So I think we'll have to wait for Lagarde, unfortunately, this morning to get any movement. So RSIs, there's loads of opportunities on RSI extensions. As you can see, all the Aussies on the hourlies are all lit up like a Christmas tree. So obviously we've got an RSI extension and an ADR hit on Aussie dollar CAD. So there's a potential long opportunity there. We just taken out that liquidity. Again, just go back to the biases. I would stick in line with these as much as possible. Aussie dollar CAD is actually more short than long, but it is range bound. Everything basically is range bound on the Aussie, apart from Aussie New Zealand and Aussie US, which are big sells. So looking at those two, Aussie New Zealand and Aussie US, obviously you got an RSI extension down there, which has played out very nicely. Nice divergence on that as well. But I'd be wary because it is a short. So, if you're taking that reversal alert, pushing up, you want to get it to break even fairly quick because there is a good chance that it might tank back down again. So I'm not going to go through all of these again, but there's lots of opportunities on the RSIs on the dashboard. The 4 hour, we've got Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar massively extended. So we're getting that bounce now, which is very nice, but this is a short, obviously. So I'm looking for shorts. The short was here and I missed it. I got into it here and I got out here in this propulsion gap. And I just missed the next entry, unfortunately, up there. So, but yeah, Aussie New Zealand is a nice, very nice short. Pound odd and pound CAD, both massive extensions as well to the upside. Look, really big movement, really extended. These are really good reversals at the moment. I really like both of these for shorts. So they're extended on the hourlies, massively extended on the hourlies, and massively extended on the 4 hourlies as well. So all looking good for the pound shorts, pound odd, pound CAD. Fundamentally, pound odd, range bound, pound CAD, range bound, no bias. And we've got sentiment at the moment saying to long both of them. Yeah. So if you've been paying attention to sentiment, you would have been long on this, but it's extended. Everybody that's long on this, all the liquidity, everybody's sort of short on this at the moment, rather. So all the liquidity is at the highs. So obviously they're just pushing up, taking all that liquidity out. They will get to a point where this will shift back. So there's your pound CAD, 82% short, pound odd, 83% short. So everybody's short, which means everybody's stops and liquidity is sitting at the highs. So they will just keep going and keep going and keep going all the time that liquidity is there until that liquidity starts to wane and we see these increasing, and then they'll flip it back the other way. Then everybody will go short and they'll pump. Just do the opposite. Morning, Shroud. So yeah, so those are really good opportunities. I'm obviously short at the moment, pound New Zealand. So pound 125 ADR now on that one. So the reversal, that's still in the same spot, so I'm going to leave that in place. So pound odd, I'm already short pound New Zealand, so I wouldn't take pound odd because I'm on pound New Zealand and they will move together. I'm short on the pound US dollar, and the pound CAD will move similarly as well. So I won't take the pound CAD because I'm short the pound US. So I'm kind of short on these two, but with other pairs, basically. I've got full exposure on the pound at the moment, so I can't take any more. I'm overexposed on the pound, actually. I've got 3 on. So waiting. Still sitting in. I'm just literally waiting for an ADR move. I just need an ADR move. He's just not doing it. I'm really hoping Lagarde's going to shake it up this morning. She needs to do something because the DAX is going sideways as well. So yeah, so there's lots of opportunities on RSI extensions. Obviously, the more extended, the better. Though the bigger that elastic band is stretched, the faster the snapback is going to be. The biggest extensions we've got are Aussie Swiss and Aussie Yen on the hourlies. So again, just looking at levels on this, we're coming right into a nice support resistance at the moment. So tapped up, rejected, pushed through, bounced. So very strong support resistance zone, very extended, nice propulsion gap target, potential to come all the way back up to there. So very good looking opportunity on the Aussie Swiss for a long. I'm just scared. I like that a lot, especially the fact we've just had a retest as well. I'm just worried about exposure at the moment. I'm already short the Swissy. I've got 4 pairs on. I don't want to push it, but I like that Aussie Swiss this morning as well. Aussie Yen as well. The other one is Euro Odd, which we've just looked at. Oh, no, we haven't looked at Euro Odd, have we? Sorry, Euro CAD, Euro Odd. Then huge extension. Careful of Lagarde. We looked at Euro Odd because it's an RSI extension, but yeah, be careful with the Euro today. Of course, there is the possibility that Lagarde's going to come out and say, you may have already heard. And yeah, we are going to drop rates in March by down to a quarter instead of 0.5, in which case, obviously, the euro is going to go. Hopefully not. I don't think she will. Other extensions we've got, so pound odd again, 4-hour extension. Hourly, we're up in the 90s. Hugely extended. Great opportunity for a 5-minute reversal alert. We've got a nasty head and shoulders forming. So there's your neckline break, which is the reversal alert. Short. Everything else is just a little bit extended. So intraday, these are your main buys and sells. So Aussie New Zealand, Aussie Swiss, and Aussie Yen all short. Kind of all played out, haven't they? Missed them. Still going, so you could still take a short on that. But they're already going. Aussie New Zealand is pushing up at the moment, so that's potentially, that's potentially a good one. So that's actually the strongest out of the lot, because we've got COT on our side as well. So if you look at the COT positioning at the moment on that, Aussie dollar 68% short, New Zealand dollar 71% long. So the market is completely in sync. Aussie New Zealand short, and Aussie New Zealand, we've got retail all long on it. My job this morning is to put a filter on this. I can find stuff. Aussie New Zealand, where are you there? So yeah, 85% of retail is long Aussie New Zealand. So that's the short of the century at the moment. Some really big sixes as well on the longs. So interesting, the plotting. I've got that spreadsheet where I'm plotting and storing all this information now on an hour by hour basis. Really interesting seeing how it changes. We're getting sort of like intraday, we're getting 10 to 15% fluctuations on these on this sentiment. So you have got to pay attention to it quite often for intraday swings. So it's going to be an interesting experiment. That DAX is just trying to get down to the lows. So we might get a breakout short. A bit worried about them basically just bouncing off limit orders down here ahead of Lagarde. So a bit of a risky one this morning, but we'll see. So the other one we've got from a sentiment perspective is we've got CAD Swiss short. Obviously that's all come down. Again, this is why I'm looking to plot this information on an hourly basis, because I want to see when this CAD Swiss went short. Yeah. Was this a short yesterday? Yeah, it was, wasn't it? See, look. Pound New Zealand 125 ADR. Yeah, CAD Swiss. That's the one I called yesterday, wasn't it? And I got in short on it yesterday because it was a -2 yesterday, because everybody's long CAD Swiss. Sure. And I also want to plot this on the hourly as well. Got a really good idea for a grid trading strategy with this. It's only an idea and I need data. So Euro Swiss and Euro Pound, these are both calling shorts because everybody's long on it at the moment. Me too. So this is slightly worrying that I'm actually in line with retail at the moment on these. But retail do win sometimes, and I'm just hoping Lagarde is going to be my saviour this morning. Bounced off on the DAX. So not getting anywhere today with the DAX. To Lagarde. Other sentiment we've got US dollar Swiss as a short. So US dollar Swiss is a good opportunity for a short. We've just had a reversal alert and a retest on that this morning. Again, this was a short. Yes. Oh, this was, what the hell? I'm pushing the wrong buttons. This was a short yesterday. So again, that's the sentiment trade that I took yesterday. Got out there. Again, missed half the move. I missed half the move on all these sentiments yesterday. But, you know, I got half the move on all these sentiments yesterday on the positive side. So that's still a short. So again, breakout of the Asian lows, which we've just done here. This candle has just broken the Asian lows. Yeah, pending order under there. If that retail sentiment, everybody's long US dollar Swiss, so short it. We've got pound odd and pound CAD both longs. We know that they were flying this morning. And then we've got euro odd, euro CAD long. So it's interesting, isn't it? Like the bias is euro odd. The market is retail are short on these two at the moment, so we need to be buying them. Yeah. However, on those two euro pairs, the market is long, so we need to be selling them. But all euro, look, obviously dependent on whether it's euro manipulation today, some of this sentiment isn't going to work, is it? So if you look at the actual COT bias, and this is why I've got the intraday sentiment with COT is positioned long on both of those. So if I was going to pick, euro CAD and euro odd would be the two that I would pick today. Yeah, and this is again why I've got the intraday sentiment. So this gives a score of 6 because COT agrees with going with the sentiment route. Yeah, so whereas here COT disagrees. That's why we only get a score of 2, which is why the ideal is not to filter it by this. It's to filter it by the 6s. Those are the strongest possible trades today. So those would be my like A1s, and then the 5s would be the second most strong, and then the 4s would be your next strong. But the 4s, the problem with the 4s is you don't have intraday sentiment because some of these will just be COT only. So anything that's a 4 or a 5 on here, I think is really where you want to concentrate. Sorry, a 5 or a 6. So those would be my best ones for the day. Intraday, this is. Get in the morning, get out at some point in the day when the market's being pushed. I'm going to tidy this bit up as well. I'm going to put, I'll probably put some dials or something here for the top ones of the day. So the best buys and sells right now, so you can refresh this page and it'll update. And all of this fundamental section of the website is all a work in progress at the moment. There's a lot more data coming on here. We've just broken out shorts. I'm short on the DAX. Pound CAD has just hit its weekly range. Just tipped over the edge there. So pound CAD, AWR. All right, pound CAD, 364. So that's just hit. So again, all these pounds really extended, really extended. DAX is coming out the lows nicely, so the opening range breakouts in play. Short, pre-market low. We don't appear to be triggering any limit orders down here, which is good. So looking at the DAX, next stop is going to be last week's low. No, it's not. Sorry, that's Friday's low. Last week's low is all the way back here. So if we are starting this rollover, so remember I said on Monday when we were looking at the DAX, I'm expecting a rollover to start because we're what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We got 10 days solid movement in the up. Whoa, hello! Just popped straight out. Just at all those limit orders down there. Just got a lovely little flush. We were bouncing around there and it just like flushed down. So that is basically all the long orders puking basically and flipping short, which accelerates the speed of the move. So the nice little pop there down the lows. So where we're looking to head to Obviously, that is the next real low from Friday, because we've broken all the lows of this week so far. So that would be first stop. And then obviously looking at previous lows and any highs we've got. So that level there, potentially. So this is obviously ADR. Last Thursday is roughly ADR. So you remember I said I'm looking for that. That's what I'm looking for. This move, there are so many longs in here ready to take profits. And what we're seeing is basically exhaustion at the highs, profit taking starting, short selling starting. This is the follow through. And the follow through day, climbing up the stairs, falling down the elevator shaft. If you look on the lower time frames, you see it a lot clearer. Yeah, so climbing up the stairs, and then we just go boom, undo it. And it's certainly undoing it. This is what we had on the NASDAQ yesterday. Yeah, so this is what I'm looking for today on the DAX, that sort of day. So NASDAQ yesterday, we had the same thing, didn't we? There's the opening range breakout yesterday. Look at the 5-minute chart. Yeah, so if you had the ORB EA on yesterday, you were short here. And obviously I didn't take anywhere near the whole move, but that was the move yesterday. That's what I'm looking for on the DAX. We're due a pullback. We're due a profit take move. It's hugely extended. Very, very extended. We've been extended and embedded now on the 4-hour RSI since the 4th of January. Daily, we're up to 80s. Yeah. So boom, we're looking for a profit take move, and they tend to be violent. But it's very difficult to read at the moment. Again, we've got Lagarde this morning, 10:30. If Lagarde comes out really bullish today, we could have the mother of all ADRs today. This is overdue. We are getting gaps as well. Look. There's a hell of a lot of volume coming on the sell side. Lovely OLB today. I could do with a profitable one after missing half of yesterday's move. But anyway. So looking at the other indices, just while I'm talking about the other indices, FTSE's coming down as well, which is good. So NASDAQ, we started the rollover. So again, I said on the NASDAQ, I can't believe this bear market is over yet. I really can't. And yesterday, it was nice to see some strength in the US dollar finally, and the indices starting to come down. I strongly believe, as a lot of people do, that we are going to test pre-COVID. So this is the COVID drop, recovery, and then obviously the ridiculous move that we had for the whole of 2020, 2021, where companies were losing money left, right, and centre, and the stock market was going through the roof. This is why we're here. This is all utter rubbish. Yeah, businesses were losing money hand over fist. We were shut for months on end, not able to spend money, and stock prices were going up. So certain companies, obviously like Peloton and Netflix, benefited from it, but the vast majority of the stock market didn't, and we had inflation, artificial inflation. This is where it all started, and that is where a lot of people are forecasting, investors and gurus, if you like, from the big institutions are forecasting this pre-COVID level for the S&P and the NASDAQ. So if that is the case, and obviously as the recession is really just starting, this bear market should not be over. Therefore, we should be seeing short selling coming in still. So it's nice to see that we didn't make a new high. There's anomalies in the market at the moment, like the Dow Jones, where the Dow has managed to make a new high. So the market structure shift from there, as you can see, you've got the reversal alert and the retest there, has actually made to put new market structure high in. But obviously the Dow came down super hard yesterday as well. So that's two really strong down days on the trot. So this is a double top, triple top, really, if you look at it like that. So as soon as we break this low out of this range, that opens the floodgates for a retest of this low. And the Dow is the only one, I believe, that has already done the pre-market, the COVID levels. Yeah. So we've achieved it on the Dow, but the Dow is the smallest stock market. So everything else has got those levels still to come for. DAX obviously is very different, European market, and obviously the FTSE is very different as well. Yeah, I mean the FTSE in the UK, we never even got back to COVID level. We've only just managed to get back to COVID levels. So yeah, different economies. But yeah, so all coming down, all stock markets coming down. We just had a reversal alert on the FTSE yesterday. So looking good for drops. Oil as well yesterday. We had a down day. I got out of my oils. We did manage to get that level that I was aiming for, which is great. So I got out of my oils because I didn't believe. I got in too late, basically. You can see I got in here. We rallied, and as we hit this resistance, I moved to break even because I just wasn't convinced this was actually going to get through it with a run. It did actually manage it in the end yesterday, but obviously then completely collapsed. So I didn't see what the inventories were yesterday. Wednesday, oil, 3 o'clock. Did we not get crude? Oh, it's bank holiday, isn't it? So crude will be today, won't it? There we go. Crude, 4 o'clock this evening. So we didn't get the inventories yesterday. So the inventories are today. So yeah, so be interesting to see what happens with oil. I got a feeling we're going to get that rally. I'm just trying to, the difficulty at the moment, pound CAD, RSI alerts on pound CAD, Euro New Zealand and Euro CAD. Hourlies, I think they were already extended. Pound CAD, Euro New Zealand and Euro CAD. Yeah, Euro New Zealand was already extended. Euro CAD's a new one. So yeah, oil, I'm just trying to pick a point. So the obvious spot to aim for on oil is here. So this is a decent support resistance level. We've got a propulsion gap from this accumulation, which potentially we could find some buyers. But we've also got, when this move sort of got started, we've got this move here, which is the move on that day that started and broke that high. So this is where the breakout originated. And this is where the add-ons were placed. So these are the two spots I'm interested in. And obviously that is an interim. So I'm just watching at the moment. I don't want to jump in here just for the sake of jumping in because I think it's going higher. I think it is going higher, but I want to get in at a decent level. What worries me is the distance. So that's a 290 pip move, which is just over an ADR. So ADR is 250 on this. So I'm just thinking, if I get in here, if we do test this area today, basically it's 3 positions and then wait for the ride back up. Obviously, if market structure is going to hold, we're not going to retest that low. So this is where we will be putting on the second leg. So I'm just waiting on oil at the minute, trying to find a level. I might set a quick alarm there, and I'll set an alert in there as well. And I'll put one down there as well. So yeah, these are the areas that I'm interested in. if we get there. And obviously we've got inventories later. So 4 o'clock this afternoon, when the oil inventories come out, we may well get a spike down, which will give us an opportunity to buy it. So we'll see. Finally bought the RSI and TDI alert dashboard. Looking forward to having it on my screen. Cool. It's my bread and butter. Yeah, and oil. I mean, I don't monitor oil on RSI. I should do, really, shouldn't I? At the end. So not extended yet. So I will start monitoring oil. I do want to trade oil more. I just I'm still a little bit wary of it. I will trade it as a hybrid strategy with a stop, but with a wide stop. So using sort of a 2 ADR stop type thing. But it's just very erratic, and I learned my lesson with gold, and this is a very similar instrument. But I like the way it's. I just like the fundamentals behind it. It's just we're caught. This is the first time as well that we've got back to the 72 since November, and we've struggled to make new highs, and every time we've had what looks like new market structure forming, it's failed, and we're in very much the same spot at the moment. Yeah, so we are now roughly here. Yeah, in the same cycle, but we're calling 107 this year, and that means it's got to get a wriggle on. And if that is going to happen, I just think this could well turn into a beautiful trending beast in the opposite direction. So what we've had over the last 6 to 8 months, I think, couldn't quite easily start to turn around. China is coming out of lockdown, and China is a massive oil consumer, and we've had demand drop. Therefore, stockpiles have increased. Therefore, price has been dropping. And no matter what happens with the news, every time we get the oil inventories every week, it doesn't seem to impact it in the right way at all, because the fundamentals have not been there. But that's all changing. OPEC have come out and said, we foresee demand increasing, and they've got caps on the production levels, so that will only increase the price. But obviously, there's global calls, obviously, for everybody to reduce their energy bills as well, because it's all too expensive at the moment. So there's so much pressure on oil. But at the end of the day, it's controlled by money-hungry Saudis, and they will get the price back up. Because as soon as electric takes over, they're all going to go bankrupt. That's the sort of thing I'm looking for in oil. Yeah, a return to that sort of trend. But this is a year here. This is from November 20 through to July 21. Yeah, so this is that's what I'm looking for oil to recover back into. It's very much like the S&P, in the fact of what we're used to with the S&P is that this is the norm, and that's the norm for oil as well. And obviously that's not what we're getting at the moment, but oil is not affected in the same way as the stock market is. So I'm just looking for opportunities at the moment to jump on. So we'll see what happens with that one today. DAX, ORB is all the way down there. We haven't hit a level yet. Should really draw it on there, shouldn't I? Oh yes, we have. Not quite. 150.38 is the first level. Potential support. Reversal alert on the hourly. Lovely M pattern reversal. So we've got to get through Friday's low, which we've just found some limit triggers at. So we'll see if we can just pull back now and rally another leg. Repeat of yesterday's NASDAQ would be absolutely fantastic. Pound US dollars in profit. I've got quite a lot of profit now across the board. We've got an hour and a half until Lagarde speaks. Should really look at taking some of this off, shouldn't I? I will be taking it off anyway down there. So pound US dollar TP on this one is here in this propulsion gap. Just in case we get some bounce. But obviously I still like it short. So second position's targeting back down, all the way back down here, which is miles away at the moment. Pound New Zealand starting to come off of ADR 125. So you got a reversal alert on M5 just gone in on that one. So I'm short, so I can get rid of that sell stop. So I've got my second position short. Euro pound. I'll take one off. Depends what Lagarde says, doesn't it? That's the thing. If she really rallies the euro this morning, we can easily get a 150 ADR. So I'm going to pop that one up there as well. So I'm going to take both of these off up here. And then I'll just be left with the one. Euro Swiss. Going to take one off there, which is just above break even. And then second position, again, 125 ADR is not out of the question. What is that TP there? What's that position? All right, okay. Let's put that up in the propulsion gap. This is an additional position. So one of those was a manual, one of those was by the EA. Come on, Lagarde. Do me proud. And that'll also tank the DAX as well. So we could have the mother of all ORB trades this afternoon, this morning as well. So hour and a half. All going to kick off. Money's coming. About time. Right. Anybody got any? Excuse me. Oh, gosh, so knackered after that spin class this morning. Anybody got anything else they want to look at this morning? Anything else they want to discuss? Any other pairs they want to look at? Because I'm probably going to just sit back and wait now for 10:30. So there's not really much else I want to cover this morning. I want to get on with sorting out all the data on the intraday sentiment and stuff. I've also got all of the historical COT data as well, which I've got in a database in the website, which I want to figure out how to plot. So on the COT page, I will be putting the historical as well. But I'm just trying to figure out how to lay the data out with that, because there's lots of it. I've only gone back to 2012 at the moment. I might not have even gone back that far yet, but I've got back to 2010. So no, 2002 I've got back to. So I need to get all that together as well, but I'm just trying to figure out how best to look at it and use it. But what I want to use it for is to plot COT positioning from a pair perspective, a little bit like the this, but I want to be able to plot the average, if you like, between the two. So the line will be plotted here, and we'll have a chart like an oscillator with 100 and 0, and then we'll be able to see whether if it's obviously above halfway, whether it was a bullish or a bearish COT sentiment, and then match that up with the daily charts to show exactly what impact COT has on a daily basis and how long the COT moves take to play out. So that's why I'm gathering all of that data together to do some detailed analysis on COT. Because I used to use it before COVID all the time. And I kind of, when COVID hit, I just stopped using it because it became pretty much irrelevant because there was no sentiment positioning at all. It was just wrong. But I think COT's becoming just better now. And obviously now matching it with the idiot sentiment. Shouldn't call us idiots, should we? But matching it with retail sentiment, obviously, as you saw yesterday, 100% strike rate on all those trades yesterday. Haven't taken any today, but if you'd have got on these again, you'd have made money again today, wouldn't you? So something to investigate, but need to find a way to get in on them. So DAX is just pulling back at the moment. There's no propulsion gaps at the minute because these moves are not as big as the previous moves, but we have got a bit of a gap there, and obviously we've got that gap there which we're sitting in. So from this candle here down to here, I would say is where we will see add-ons if they're going to happen. But equally, we could very easily pull back into this range waiting for Lagarde this morning. So we'll see, but certainly looks like the sellers are in control, doesn't it, today? So, right, well, if there's nothing else anybody wants to look at, I will disappear, and I'll be back at 2:20 this afternoon, ready for the New York session. I've got to cut the New York session, not short, but I've got a meeting at 4:15. So I'll be on for a good hour or hour and a half-ish. So I'll be on for the open, obviously, and we'll trade the NASDAQ and have a look at what's happened with the euro and everything today. But I will be back on at 2:20, and obviously we'll go through all of that stuff then. So if there's anything else you need, come into the Telegram group. I'll be in there, and I'll be just monitoring these ones that I've got on today. And fingers crossed we get some bullish action on the euro today. But we'll see. Hopefully Lagarde will be able to undo all the stuff that we've had negative this week, and we'll get a good pump. So fingers crossed for that. So I will see you guys this afternoon. Have a good morning. Hope it's profitable, and yeah, see you then.